Question number 1. A supply manager for an organization that manufactures kitchen appliances in the United Kingdom has just completed the cost calculations for a make or buy decision regarding a critical component for a new product. She has capability and capacity for manufacturing the component in-house, but the cost figure presents an image of substantial savings by outsourcing. At this point, what is her next step? Would it be A, consider non-cost concerns that may be important in deciding whether to make or buy the component? Or is it B, at this point, the information that is necessary to make a decision has been generated? Or is it C, develop performance metrics related to the decision and implement management control systems? Or is it D, communicate the final decision along with the cost figures in order to justify the decision? And the answer is letter A. Consider non-cost concerns that may be important in deciding whether to make or buy the component. Certain items or services, such as standard or routine items, do not require insourcing or outsourcing evaluations. For other items, however, the analysis takes on strategic importance involving more than simple cost comparisons. Purchasing's role in make or buy analysis is an important one. Regarding outsourcing, purchasing must identify whether there are qualified suppliers that exist in the marketplace. Further requirements may include supplier visits, negotiations, and monitoring supplier performance, which are considered non-cost concerns. Also, creating the component in-house can provide a powerful competitive advantage to one's business. The reasons why options B, C, and D are not correct because option B, we are still determining if we will outsource or not, while option C, developing a performance metric is done once we have come up with a decision. Performance metrics are a set of data used to track operations inside a company using activities, employee behavior, productivity, and so much more. And the last and final is there is no final decision to communicate yet. Therefore, option D is not the correct option. Question number 2. Which of the following is the most appropriate way of identifying outsourcing opportunities in overseas countries? Is it A, develop a plan that focuses on low-cost countries, select a low-cost supplier, and develop the capabilities needed to promote the success of that supplier? Or is it B, select countries based on desired markets and work with the local government to find suppliers that can produce the needed products? Or is it C, develop criteria encompassing the product requirements, weigh the criteria for importance, and evaluate each country against the criteria? Or is it D, evaluate the geographic concerns and political considerations and locate the country that most closely represents the ideal solution with regards to these considerations? Question number 2 answer. And the answer is letter C. Develop criteria encompassing the product requirements, weigh the criteria for importance, and evaluate each country against the criteria. By using a systematic strategy that considers the specification for the intended product and compares each nation to predetermined criteria, outsourcing possibilities in other nations may be found. This strategy starts by outlining the factors that must be taken into account in order to determine the optimal choice. This might involve political consideration, geographic issues, and economic constraints like labor prices or resource availability. The next step after establishing the criteria is to rank the criteria in order of significance. For instance, nations with lower labor costs ought to be given greater weight than those with higher labor costs if labor costs are a significant component. Why other options are incorrect? Because option A, it is not the most suitable method for discovering outsourcing prospects in abroad countries. Instead, It places an emphasis on low-cost nations and picking a low-cost supplier, both of which are done without taking into account other significant aspects, such as political considerations or regional issues. While option B is not the most suitable technique of discovering outsourcing possibilities in other nations. Instead, it focuses on picking nations to include based on the markets that are wanted, without really analyzing those countries against the criteria. And lastly, option D. Option D is part of the criteria of importance that we use to evaluate each country for outsourcing opportunities abroad. Question number 3. A reverse auction is primarily used for which types of purchases? A. Strategic goods and services whose prices are rising. B. Management consulting services where there are many competitors. C. Tangible goods that are fairly well standardized. Or D. Goods for which the organization wishes to decrease the number of organizations that bid. Question number 3, answer. The correct option is letter C. Tangible goods that are fairly well standardized. In case of the reverse auction, the bid amount is placed by the seller and not by the buyer, where the seller bids the amount at which they are ready to sell the goods or services provided by them after the request being received from the buyer about the goods or services that they like to purchase or avail. The reverse auction is suitable only in those cases where there are many sellers who provide a similar kind of goods and services. Therefore, the reverse auction can be used in case of the tangible goods that are fairly standardized, as in case of such goods, only the negotiations relating to the price is required to be made. As the goods are standardized, there would not be any concern about the quality of goods being supplied. Further, there would be many suppliers in the market that would be supplying the standardized goods. Hence, the reverse auction is suitable in such cases. Option A. The reverse auction should not be used in case of the management consulting services where there are many competitors, because in case of such services, there is not only the price that should be negotiated. The reasons why option A, B, and D are not suitable are because option A. The reverse auction should not be used in case of the management consulting services where there are many competitors, because in case of such services, there is not only the price that should be negotiated. Besides price, the other factors are also required to be considered, such as quality of services that are being provided or the timeliness of delivery. Option B. The reverse auction is also not suitable for the strategic items where there is a limited supply and in case of which the price fluctuates very rapidly. And lastly, option D. It is not suitable for the goods where the organization wishes to decrease the number of organizations that bid, as it is only suitable where there are a large number of suppliers who are providing the similar goods. Question number 4. SBOT is a small startup organization providing speech recognition technology for installation into the cockpits of small aircraft. The speech recognition is integrated into the GPS navigation system. Because of the complex technology involved, many components are purchased from outside suppliers, with final integration of technologies and assembly taking place at the SBOT location. The organization has gotten bogged down in the entire order process. However, with purchase orders taking too long to be approved and invoices languishing unpaid, the organization wishes to see how technology can provide a more timely solution to these issues. Which of the following seems to be a likely solution for them to implement? Is it A, electronic data interchange, or EDI? Or is it B, reverse auction? Or is it C, enterprise resource planning, or ERP? Or is it D, purchase order system? The answer is letter A, electronic data interchange, or EDI. EDI replaces order processes, transactions, and communications that were done with paper or fax in the past. It is an important component for automation in business processes. With EDI, you can exchange digital information and transactions with other businesses for greater accuracy and speed of communication. For example, purchase orders, invoices, advance ship notices, and other documents can be digitally transmitted via EDI. The reasons why other options are incorrect. Option B. Reverse auction are electronic processes where multiple sellers of a product are vying for the business of a single buyer, resulting in intense price competition among sellers. Bidding continues until a pre-established bidding period ends or until no seller is willing to bid any lower, whichever comes first. Therefore, this is not the best solution. Option C. New types of enterprise resource planning systems also help managers more accurately measure the actual level of inventory on hand as opposed to guesstimating. This enterprise resource planning is focused on inventory, therefore, this is not the best solution. While letter D, a purchase order system automates the process of approval of purchase requisitions and creating the purchase order. It supports procurement activities through a centralized procurement platform. And purchase orders are actually examples of documents that can be digitally transmitted via EDI.